The turkey was perfect. Golden brown, crispy skin, juices running clear when I tested the thigh. I'd been up since 5 a.m., bringing, seasoning, basting. My hands smelled like sage and butter. My back ached from standing at the stove for 6 hours. I was plating the last side dish when my mother walked into her kitchen, surveyed the spread I'd created, and said, "Remember, Daniel, you're only a visitor here." My father laughed from the dining room. "Carol's right. Don't get too comfortable." I smiled, set down the serving spoon, removed my apron, and walked out the front door without saying a word. What happened next made my mother show up at my apartment 3 weeks later, crying on my doorstep. "My name is Daniel Porter. I'm 31 years old. And that Thanksgiving was the last time I pretended my family's casual cruelty was just their sense of humor." Let me back up. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. My older brother Scott is 37, married to Jennifer, 2 kids, works in finance. My sister Amy is 34, married to Greg, 1 kid, works in marketing. Both live within 20 minutes of our parents in suburban Chicago. I live in Milwaukee. 2 hours away. Close enough to visit, far enough to have my own life. Growing up, I was the surprise baby. The accident. My parents never said it directly, but you pick up on these things when your siblings are 6 and 3 years older, when family photos stop appearing after you arrive, when your baby book has 5 entries compared to their filled albums. Scott was the golden child. Amy was Daddy's little girl. I was just kind of there. By the time I was in high school, the dynamic was set. Scott would inherit Dad's business contacts. Amy would get Mom's jewelry collection. I would get whatever was left over and a pat on the back for not causing problems. I didn't fight it. Became the peacekeeper. The one who showed up, helped out, asked for nothing. It was easier than confronting the fact that I'd never quite belong. After college, I moved to Milwaukee for a job in IT. Started dating my girlfriend Rachel 2 years ago. Built a quiet, stable life. Visited home once a month because that's what good sons do. But visits always felt like work. Not in the fun way where you're helping family, but in the exhausting way where you're performing gratitude for being allowed in the room. This Thanksgiving was supposed to be different. Rachel couldn't come. Her sister was having a baby in Boston, family emergency. I almost stayed in Milwaukee, but Mom called and did that thing where she makes requests sound like you'd be a monster to refuse. "It would mean so much to your father if you came. He's been talking about it for weeks. You know how he looks forward to having all his children together." So I went. And because I'm an idiot who never learns, I offered to help with cooking. "Oh, would you? That would be wonderful. You know how exhausted I get with all this." I arrived on Wednesday night with 2 bags of groceries. Expensive stuff. Organic turkey from the fancy butcher, real cranberries for homemade sauce, good wine, craft beer, and ingredients for sides Mom had mentioned wanting but never had time to make. $473 on my credit card. I didn't mention it. Just started prepping. Thursday morning, I was in the kitchen by 5:30 a.m. Mom came down around 8, watched me baste the turkey, and said, "Oh, you're still doing all this? I thought you'd want to relax." "I'm good. Almost done anyway." She poured coffee. Scott's bringing Jennifer's famous green bean casserole. Amy's making her sweet potato thing. I just hope there's room for everything. There was room. Because I'd spent 3 hours making room, rearranging the oven, timing everything perfectly so it all finished together. By noon, the house smelled incredible. Scott and Jennifer arrived first with their kids, Ethan and Sophie, ages 8 and 6. The kids ran past me like I was furniture. Scott shook my hand with that aggressive grip guys use when they're measuring something. "Smells good. Mom really went all out this year." "Actually, Jenny, babe, where do you want the casserole?" Amy and Greg showed up 30 minutes later with their son Mason, age 4. Amy hugged me but was already looking past me at the dining room. "Is that the china? Mom, you used the good china?" "Well, it's Thanksgiving. We're all together." Except when she said, "all together." She looked at Scott and Amy. Not me. We sat down around 1 p.m. 22 people crammed around my parents' dining table and the folding card table they'd set up for the overflow kids. The spread looked like something from a magazine. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, roasted vegetables, rolls, and 3 pies. I'd cooked probably 60% of it. Dad stood to carve the turkey. "Carol, this looks magnificent. You've outdone yourself." Mom beamed. "Well, I had some help." Amy brought her sweet potatoes. Jennifer made the casserole. I waited for her to mention me. She didn't. "Let's say grace," Dad continued. We held hands around the table. Dad thanked God for family, health, prosperity. Thanked Mom for her hard work. Thanked Scott for his success. Thanked Amy for her creativity. He did not thank me for anything. We ate. People complimented the food. "Carol, this turkey is perfect. This stuffing is incredible. Where'd you learn to make cranberry sauce like this?" Mom accepted every compliment with a gracious smile. Never once said, "Actually, Daniel made that." I told myself it didn't matter. I didn't need credit. I was just happy to help. But then came the dishes. Scott and Jennifer's kids were running around screaming. Amy was showing everyone photos on her phone. Greg and Dad were talking business. Mom was packaging leftovers. I started clearing plates. "Oh, Daniel, you don't have to do that," Mom said absently, already wrapping turkey in foil. "It's fine. I got it." I loaded the dishwasher, washed the serving dishes by hand, wiped down counters. Scott walked through at one point, grabbed a beer from the fridge, said, "Thanks, bro," without making eye contact, and left. By 3 p.m., the kitchen was clean. My feet hurt. My shoulders ached. I could feel a stress headache forming. I walked into the living room where everyone had gathered. Scott was on the couch, Jennifer next to him. Amy and Greg had the love seat. Mom and Dad had their recliners. The kids were on the floor with iPads. Every seat was taken. I stood in the doorway for a minute. Nobody looked up. Nobody made room. Nobody said, "Hey Daniel, sit here." I grabbed a folding chair from the closet and set it up near the corner. Sat down. Pulled out my phone because I had nothing else to do. 20 minutes later, Dad asked, "Scott, you want to help me move that bookshelf in the garage? Been meaning to reorganize." Scott got up. So did Greg. "I'll help." They walked past me without asking if I wanted to come. I sat there watching football I didn't care about, surrounded by family that apparently forgot I existed. Around 5 p.m., people started packing up. Mom was handing out Tupperware containers of leftovers. Big ones for Scott and Amy. A small one for me with some turkey and one roll. "This is all we have left," she said apologetically. I'd watched her pack away at least 3 full containers of food before giving me scraps. "That's fine," I said. Jennifer was getting the kids' coats on. "Carol, thank you so much for hosting. You always make it so special." "Oh, it's my pleasure. Family is everything." I was putting on my jacket when Mom asked, "You're leaving already? I thought you might stay for pie." I should get back. Long drive. Well, all right. Drive safe. That was it. No hug. No thank you for the food, the cooking, the cleaning, the $473 I'd spent. Just drive safe. I was almost to the door when I heard her voice from the kitchen. She was talking to Amy, didn't realize I was still in earshot. I just wish he'd relax when he visits. Always so eager to help, like he's trying to prove something. It makes everyone uncomfortable. Amy's voice quieter. Maybe he's just trying to be useful. Well, he needs to remember he's only a visitor here. This is Scott, and you're home more than his. You two are the ones who stayed close, who made us grandparents. Daniel chose to move away. He can't just show up and act like he belongs the same way. Only a visitor here. I stood in that hallway, hand on the doorknob, those words ringing in my ears. I'd cooked their meal, bought their groceries, cleaned their kitchen. And I was a visitor. I walked back into the kitchen. Both Mom and Amy looked up, startled. "Forget something?" Mom asked. I untied my apron, the one I'd worn all day, the one that was covered in flour and cranberry stains and proof of my labor. Folded it carefully. Set it on the counter. "You're right, Mom. I am just a visitor." Her face did this thing where confusion and defensiveness fought for dominance. Daniel, I didn't mean. No, you did. You meant it. And you're right. This isn't my home. I don't belong here the way Scott and Amy do. I'm just a kid who shows up occasionally and tries too hard. Dad appeared in the doorway. What's going on? Nothing, I said calmly. I'm leaving. Thank you for having me. I walked to the front door. Mom followed, flustered. Daniel, you're overreacting. I was just talking. You were just being honest. I interrupted. Which I appreciate. It's clarifying. Scott came out of the garage. What's the drama? No drama, I said. I'm just heading out. You're being weird, man. I looked at my brother. At the family gathering behind him that I'd cooked for, cleaned for, spent money I didn't really have to spare for. At the people who'd let me sit alone in a corner while they took up all the space. Yeah, I agreed. I'm being weird. My bad. I got in my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I could see them all standing on the porch, confused about why I was upset. Because to them, they hadn't done anything wrong. They just told the truth. And I'd finally heard it. The drive back to Milwaukee was 2 hours of silence. No music. No podcasts. Just me, the highway, and the sound of my own breathing. I kept replaying it. You're only a visitor here. Not even said to my face. Said to Amy in the kitchen like gossip. Like I was some acquaintance who'd overstayed their welcome, not her son. I got home around 8 p.m. My apartment was dark, quiet, exactly how I'd left it. Rachel was still in Boston. Wouldn't be back until Monday. I sat on my couch in my jacket and stared at the wall for 20 minutes. Then my phone buzzed. Mom. Daniel, I think there was a misunderstanding. Call me when you get home safe. I stared at the text. A misunderstanding. Like I'd misheard. Like her words weren't crystal clear. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another text. Amy. Mom's upset. She didn't mean it the way it sounded. You know how she is. I knew exactly how she was. Then Scott. Dude, what was that about? You just left. I turned my phone off and went to bed. The next morning, Black Friday, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 23 text messages. Most were from Mom. Variations of, please call me, I'm worried, this is silly, you're being dramatic. One from Dad. Your mother is very upset. Whatever this is about, you need to fix it. I needed to fix it. Of course. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and did something I'd never done before. I opened my banking app and added up what I'd spent on my family over the past year. Thanksgiving groceries, $473. Mom's birthday dinner in March, $180. Dad's Father's Day gift, the expensive scotch he mentioned wanting, $215. Scott's daughter's birthday present in August, $75. Amy's son's Christmas gift last year, $90. Various times I'd covered dinner when we went out, estimated $600 over the year. Gas for monthly visits, roughly $150 per month, times 12. Total, $4,483. I stared at that number. $4,483 to be a visitor in my own family. My phone rang. Mom again. I let it go to voicemail. Daniel, this is getting ridiculous. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but you're blowing this completely out of proportion. Call me back so we can talk like adults. Like adults. Because I was the child having a tantrum, not the grown man who just realized he'd been buying his way into a family that still saw him as optional. Rachel called around noon. Hey, how was Thanksgiving? I told her everything. The cooking, the cleaning, the visitor. Comment, walking out. She was quiet for a long moment. Daniel, I'm going to say something and I need you to hear me. Okay. I've been watching you with your family for 2 years. Every visit, you come back exhausted. Every holiday, you spend money you don't have. Every time they need something, you drop everything. And they never, not once, have treated you like you matter to them. That's not. It is. I've seen it. I didn't want to say anything because they're your family and it's not my place. But Daniel, what your mom said. That's what they all think. You're convenient when they need you and invisible when they don't. I knew she was right. I'd always known. I just hadn't wanted to admit it. What do I do? Whatever you need to. But stop setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. We talked for another hour. By the time we hung up, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going back for Christmas. The next week was quiet. I didn't call. Didn't text. Didn't respond to the increasingly frustrated messages from my family. Mom, it's been 4 days. This is childish. Scott, you're really going to do this over one comment? Amy, Mom's crying every day. You're breaking her heart. That last one almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered, where was Amy when I was sitting alone at Thanksgiving? Where was her concern when I was cleaning up after everyone while they ignored me? On Wednesday, a full week after Thanksgiving, something changed. I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Hi Daniel, this is Jennifer. Scott's wife. I know this is weird, but I wanted to reach out. I was there when you left, and I'd been thinking about what your mom said. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. I stared at my phone. Jennifer had barely spoken to me in the 6 years she'd been married to Scott. I typed back. Thanks. I appreciate that. 3 dots appeared. Then, Scott doesn't know I'm texting you. He thinks you're being dramatic. But I've watched how your family treats you. They take you for granted. I would have left too. Something loosened in my chest. Validation from an unexpected source. Why are you telling me this? Because I grew up in a family like yours. I was the youngest. The one who had to earn her place at the table. I know what it feels like. And I'm sorry I never said anything before. We texted back and forth for 20 minutes. She told me she tried to talk to Scott about it, but he'd shut her down. Said I was being sensitive, that Mom didn't mean anything by it. He doesn't see it because he's never experienced it. Jennifer wrote. He's always been the favorite. That evening Mom called. For once I answered. Finally, she said. I've been trying to reach you for a week. I know. Daniel, this has gone on long enough. I think we need to talk about Thanksgiving. Okay. Let's talk. I'm sorry you misunderstood what I said to Amy. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I didn't misunderstand. You said I'm only a visitor? That this is Scott and Amy's home more than mine. That I need to remember my place. Silence. Then, I was frustrated. You were being so helpful it made me feel inadequate. That stopped me. What? You came in and took over my kitchen. Made all this elaborate food. Like you were trying to show me up. I actually laughed. Mom, you asked me to help. I was trying to make things easier for you. Well, it didn't feel that way. It felt like you were judging how I usually do things. I spent 6 hours cooking and cleaning, and you're mad that I did it too well? I'm not mad. I'm just saying, you made things awkward. Everyone felt uncomfortable. No, everyone felt fine. They ate the food, complimented you for it, and ignored me completely. The only person who was uncomfortable was me. That's not fair. Isn't it? Did you thank me once? Did you tell anyone I'd cooked? Did you save me a seat in the living room? You always do this, she said, voice rising. You keep score. You make everything about what you've done for us. I spent over $4,000 on this family this year, Mom. I'm not keeping score. I'm just finally noticing the game. $4,000? That's ridiculous. I have the receipts. She was quiet. Then, nobody asked you to spend that money? And there it was. The truth she'd been dancing around. You're right, I said. Nobody asked? I just kept giving, hoping eventually you'd see me as more than a visitor. But you won't. So I'm done. Done with what? Done trying. Done visiting. Done pretending we're close when we're not. Daniel, you're being dramatic. Maybe. But I'm also being honest. For the first time in 31 years. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I'd never stood up to her like that. Never pushed back. Never stopped apologizing for existing. It felt terrifying and liberating in equal measure. 2 days later, Dad called. "Your mother is very hurt," he said without preamble. "I know. You can't just cut off your family over a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding, Dad. She meant what she said. She was venting to Amy. People say things they don't mean when they're frustrated. She said it because it's what she thinks." "What do you all think?" "That I'm not really part of this family the way Scott and Amy are." "That's not true." "When's my birthday, Dad?" Silence. "August 7th. I said. "You didn't call. Didn't text. Didn't acknowledge it." "Scott's birthday?" "You took him to dinner." "Amy's birthday?" "Mom threw her a party." "Mine?" "Nothing. We're busy, Daniel. We can't remember every." "It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm just done pretending it doesn't hurt." "So what, you're going to punish us by disappearing?" "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just stopping. Stopping the visits, the money, the effort." "You said I'm a visitor." "Visitors eventually leave." "You're being selfish." "That word. The one they'd never said but always implied?" "Maybe. But I'm also being smart. For the first time in my life." I hung up before he could respond. That night, I blocked their numbers. Not permanently. Just for now. Just so I could breathe. Rachel got back on Monday. Found me on the couch staring at nothing. "How bad is it?" she asked. I told them I'm done. "How do you feel?" "Terrified. Relieved. Guilty. Free. All of it." She sat next to me. "You did the right thing." "Then why does it feel so wrong?" "Because you're a good person. And good people feel guilty even when they're protecting themselves." We sat in silence. Then she said, "What are you doing for Christmas?" "I don't know. Not going there." "Come to my parents' house. You're invited." "Have been since Thanksgiving. I just didn't want to pressure you." Rachel's family was everything mine wasn't. Warm, loud, genuinely happy to see each other. The first time I met them, her dad had hugged me and asked about my job with real interest. Her mom had made sure I felt included in every conversation. "You sure they want me there?" "Daniel, my mom has already bought you a stocking." "Yes, they want you there." I felt something crack in my chest. "Okay. Yeah. I'd like that." The next 2 weeks were quiet. My phone stayed off. Work kept me busy. Rachel kept me grounded. Then, 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, someone knocked on my door at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. I looked through the peephole and saw my mother standing in my hallway, crying. I stood at the peephole for a full minute, watching my mother cry in my hallway. Part of me wanted to open the door immediately. That trained response. "Mom's upset, fix it." But I remembered. "You're only a visitor." Remembered 3 weeks of silence. I opened the door. She looked terrible. No makeup, swollen eyes, sweatpants. She'd driven 2 hours at 10 p.m. looking like this. "Daniel," she said, voice breaking. I didn't move from the doorway. Just waited. "Can we talk? Please?" I stepped aside. She came in, looking around like she'd never seen my apartment. She hadn't. In 2 years living here, she'd never visited. She sat on my couch. I sat in the chair across from her. Coffee table between us like a barrier. "I've been calling," she started. "I know. I blocked your number." She flinched. "Why?" "Because I needed space." "Space from your own mother?" "Space from someone who hurt me and then got mad that I was hurt." She pulled a tissue from her purse. "I drove 2 hours to see you." I didn't respond. Didn't congratulate her for doing what I'd done every month for years. "Your father thinks I should let you cool off." "But I can't, Daniel. You're my son." "Then why won't you see me as one?" "What does that mean?" I leaned forward. "What did I cook for Thanksgiving?" She blinked. "What?" "Simple question. What did I cook? The turkey? What else?" "I don't know, Daniel." "Does it matter?" "It matters that I spent 6 hours cooking and you took credit. It matters that I cleaned while everyone relaxed. It matters that you gave Scott and Amy full containers of leftovers and gave me scraps. You're keeping score again." No. I'm finally looking at the scoreboard. She twisted the tissue. I came to apologize. For what specifically? For hurting your feelings. For the visitor comment. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. How did you mean it? I meant you don't live here anymore. You moved away. Scott and Amy stayed close. So I'm less of a son because I took a job 2 hours away? You chose to leave. There it was. I took a job. Like any adult. Scott didn't leave because he took over Dad's business. Not because he loves you more. She looked down. You were always independent. Never needed us like the others. I needed you just as much. I just learned asking was pointless. When's my birthday, Mom? She looked up, confused. What? My birthday. What day? August 7th? You forgot to call this year. Or text. We were busy with Amy's son's birthday party. Which is in September. Her face crumpled. That's horrible to say. It's horrible to realize. Silence. She cried. I washed. I don't know how to fix this. She said. Maybe you can't. Not quickly. Maybe not ever. So we just don't talk? It wasn't one comment, Mom. It was 31 years of being invisible. Name one achievement you've had that I celebrated. She opened her mouth. Closed it. I got promoted in June. Senior IT manager. 20,000 raise. You said that's nice and talked about Scott's car for 20 minutes. I don't remember that. I know. That's the problem. She stood suddenly. I came to apologize and you're just punishing me. I'm protecting myself. From your own mother? From the person who makes me feel worthless. She grabbed her purse. Are you coming to Christmas? No. The family will ask. Tell them whatever's easier. She turned at the door. This is killing me, Daniel. It's been killing me for years. You're just noticing now. She left. Rachel came out of the bedroom. How do you feel? Empty. But not in a bad way. The next morning, Amy texted. Amy, Mom told me about last night. You were too harsh. Me, you weren't there. Amy, she's heartbroken. Me, I've been hurting for years. Nobody noticed. Amy, you're being selfish. This is tearing the family apart. Me, the family was already broken. I stopped pretending. Scott called that evening. You made Mom cry. She told you her version. Want to hear mine? She drove 2 hours and you told her to fuck off. I told her I'm tired of being treated like I don't matter. You can't cut everyone off because your feelings got hurt. Scott, did you notice I was sitting alone at Thanksgiving? Did you notice I cooked the food? Did you notice anything about me? Silence. If you want a relationship with me, you know where I am. Don't hold your breath, little brother. He hung up. Jennifer texted. Scott told me. I tried to get him to see your side. He won't listen. Thanks for trying. You deserve better. 2 weeks later was Christmas. Rachel's family in Boston. Her parents welcomed me like I'd always been there. Christmas morning, Rachel's mom handed me a stocking with my name stitched on it. Had it made special, she said. Welcome to the family. My phone stayed quiet all day. No messages from my family. It hurt less than I expected. #Thanksgiving Visitor Story Part 4. ## Part 4 for AI narration. 3 months passed. Winter turned to early spring. Life moved forward. Rachel and I got serious. Started looking at apartments together. Work promoted me again. Director of IT. Then in March, Jennifer called. Your mom's been in the hospital. She fell, broke her hip. She's okay, but it's been rough. When? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. Nobody told me. Does she want to see me? I don't know. But I thought you should know. I went. Not because I owed them, but because I needed to know I was the kind of person who showed up. The hospital was 40 minutes outside Chicago. I found Mom's room. Dad was there, dozing. Mom turned when I walked in. Daniel. Dad woke up. What are you doing here? Jennifer told me. I came to check on Mom. We didn't call you for a reason. I know. But I'm here anyway. Mom's eyes filled with tears. You came. I pulled up a chair. How are you feeling? Like I broke my hip. Stupid mostly. Recovery's slow. I'm glad you're okay. Awkward silence. Dad glared. Why did you come? Mom asked. Because you're my mother. Despite everything, I don't want you to suffer. But you're still angry. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done trying to be something you don't want me to be. Dad stood. You show up after months acting like you care? I do care. Caring about people who don't care back was destroying me. We care, Mom said quietly. We just don't know how to show it in ways that matter to you. First time she'd acknowledged it wasn't about me misunderstanding. I just needed to feel like I mattered as much as Scott and Amy. You do matter. Then why didn't anyone tell me you were in the hospital? Silence. We thought you wouldn't come, Dad said. After everything. I'm here. But you assumed the worst without trying. Mom reached for my hand. I've had time to think. About what you said. About how we treated you. And? You were right. We took you for granted. We prioritized Scott and Amy. We made you feel like a visitor. Hearing her actually admit it cracked something open. I don't know if we can fix it, she continued. But I want you to know I see it now. I don't know what happens next, I said. But I appreciate you saying that. We talked for an hour. Surface stuff. Her recovery, my job, Rachel. When I left, Mom squeezed my hand. Will you come back? Maybe. If you want me to. I do. In the parking lot, Dad caught up. I don't know how to admit I was wrong. But your mother's right. We messed up. Yeah. You did. Can we try again? I don't want to start over. That erases what happened. But maybe we can start different. With honesty. He nodded. I can try that. I drove back with complicated feelings. Not happy, not sad. Just realistic. Rachel was waiting. How was it? Honest. For the first time. My phone buzzed. Amy. Dad told me you visited. Thank you. I responded. She's my mom. Despite everything. Amy. I'm sorry. For not seeing it. You were right. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was acknowledgement. Over the next months, things shifted slowly. Mom called weekly. Dad sent texts. Scott still didn't reach out. I made peace with that. I went back in June for Dad's birthday. Brought Rachel. The house felt different. I wasn't performing anymore. Just there, present. At dinner, Dad paused. Daniel, you want to carve? Small thing. But it felt like recognition. I carved. Mom said. Daniel helped with the vegetables. She gave me credit. Finally. After dinner, talking with my parents, Mom asked, when do we get to see your apartment? You want to visit? If you'll have us. I looked at Rachel. She nodded. Yeah. That would be okay. It wasn't perfect. Hurt didn't disappear. Trust wasn't rebuilt overnight. But it was different. Honest. Real. Driving back, Rachel asked. You okay? Yeah. I think I am. They're trying. They are. Not enough to erase what happened, but it's something. Is it enough for you? I thought about the years of being invisible, the moment I walked out, the months of distance, the slow rebuilding. It's enough for now. Maybe that's all it needs to be. She took my hand. Family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about effort, respect, and recognition. My biological family was learning. Rachel's family already did. I had both now. And that felt like enough. Not perfect. Not healed. Just enough. And sometimes, enough is exactly what you need.